Hello. Welcome to Humanity Through Art. My name is Ranelle Wolf, and I have the pleasure not only to present somebody that is so incredible, but today we are going to explore what it means to heal the world. Tikkun Olam in Hebrew means to heal the world, not through politics or slogans, but through story, song, words, deeds, films, and the care of the soul. We will ask timeless questions. What is the soul? And how can art help us nurture it in a time of brokenness? So today I have the absolute pleasure of introducing one of the 36 human beings who hold up the world, and that's Dr. Bernie Furshpan, who has created this whole program of Humanity Matters. We're just a newbie, but I get to present him today. And so here he is, Dr. Bernie Furshpan.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, our guest is Bernie Furshpan. He's a producer, entrepreneur, and visionary behind Humanity Matters Through Art. Bernie has lived many lives, from chiropractor to comedy club owner, from showbiz producer to filmmaker. And he's currently producing a concert in Israel to raise funds for the arts. And he's the reason I'm sitting in this chair today. Bernie believed in me, and today I'm honored to turn the microphone toward him. You felt film was the best way to tell your story. Why was film the preferred creative message for you? And looking forward, how do we push the arts into new projects, especially now when we know social media can be literally deadly? How do we change the creative narrative to art, leading us toward life and the connection instead of hate?
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for the recognition and the acknowledgments and the compliments. It's very humbling to hear all this. I really do appreciate it. I don't think about these things. I just keep running, and I just keep getting to the next project. I do want to say that the film, I Am Bernie Furshpan, The Weight of Memory, is really the brainchild of Christiane Arbizu, who's the filmmaker. She used me as the subject. So I was the subject of the film. And why did she use me as a subject? Because she witnessed my presentation of my father's story. So she came up to me and she says, I'd love to do a film about you telling your father's story and your intense mission to speak to children, this very important mission, this sense of urgency. She said that I sensed from you the sense of urgency, that it's so important that we talk to young people today about tolerance and the fact that we're all connected. And of course, tell them the story of your father, but to inspire them. And she was very excited to do that story. So I just wanted to give her credit for really being the brainchild of that particular film. But now is the time to do something like that. And why do we do a film? Because a film is visual. It's not just auditory, it's visual. Most people are visual. That's why people are glued to their phones. They're visually glued to their phones, and they're stimulated day in and day out by things that other people create. You know what's really amazing about the arts is that people are very artful. People have inside of them this ability to be so artistic in the way they present themselves in the world, and they do a beautiful job. Of course, there's always a bunch of bad characters out there who are using the same technology to influence others, but that's what we're trying to combat.
Well, I think it's interesting because the soul, and many people have written about it, going back to ancient philosophy, to Hillman, to Thomas More. But soul is a place of also where it could get very depressed and very sad and very dark. I'm only saying that because what you have done, and I'm not even quite sure, and I think the listeners should know that walking into the Holocaust Center and Tolerance Center in this mansion on a preserve already sets an experience up. Yes. So you're walking in here and you're seeing an exhibition what the connection, what you have done is why I say you are brilliant and a modern Renaissance man. So you have this experience of people coming into the studio or not, or other people, and here you give them maybe film, presentation, but they don't walk out the same because you have, what I'm trying to say is you have to get dirty and deep. This is how we care for the soul. We don't have to medicate it.
Right. We don't have to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, so what kind of, your film was so successful because I think it was personal. You spoke about food. You were able to get everybody to get involved in it in a intimate way.
Yes.
But in a world now where you say we're glued to the phone.
Yes.
What is going to be the next film or the kind of films that you think would be important to have or do or participate or bring?
Right. I think we need to reboot humanity. It needs a good reboot. We went down a rabbit hole. We are so caught up in rage, in yelling at each other, in screaming at each other. We forgot why we're here.
That's beautiful, Bernie, because you talk about rage, but rage also has a voice, right?
Yes.
It's a rage, but that leads me in to what I'm very interested in, I know the listeners would be. You are working and you are doing this full time, Bernie.
Yes.
And also you're preparing something in Israel. And you are you're producing a concert in Israel this December to raise funds for the arts. Why do you believe supporting the arts there is so urgent right now? And what would you like to see this project inspire globally? And we do need help financially.
That is a great question. It is such a beautiful question. And the reason I'm doing it is because the arts, music, dance, visual arts, they unite people and they heal people. You'll notice that even in a comedy club, that's an art form. Singers, even in a cabaret space, people gather. They have something in common. They all share this love for the arts. And so it unites people. It brings them together. It doesn't matter if they're on the right or the left or up or down. It really doesn't matter at that time. It just matters that they all share something in common, and that is the love of the arts. And I'm doing this concert because for this particular school, the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance, because their philosophy and their mission is to bring people from all walks of life to share this love of the arts. And so they have musicians from all over the world, but they also have Arab-speaking students. I said Muslim students to the president. He says, no, Arab-speaking students, he said. Hebrew-speaking students. English-speaking students. Uzbekistan-speaking students, Chinese-speaking students. That doesn't really matter. He brings people from all over the world, and they get along beautifully because they share this beauty, this art in common, and that's what heals this particular group of people. And they take this with them for the rest of their lives.
So it seems that your soul, it's interesting, as you say, to come into this center where you wound up and you could have been retired. But the soul has a way, and it takes decades for the soul to evolve, to know what one should do with the soul. So you knew you had a hit. You knew your father did, as you say, a schmear on the Puck building.
He did a schmear.
But it was for the Pratt family.
Yeah.
Then you come back to this environment, whoever brilliant person who decided to put this center here, God bless them.
Yes.
Because they could have not picked a more perfect place. And then you know you belong here, but you've been in comedy club, all these things. So this is how the soul develops. It can't get there right away. So what kind of other stories should we have so people could learn more?
Right.
And is there any other story that's going to be attached to this presentation in Israel?
Yeah, there is several stories, actually. There's going to be a participation of people from all over the place, not just in Israel, that are coming together to perform and to support this school and its mission. Because of the war, the school is seeing less funding. That's why I jumped in to help. It's almost like a first responder, basically. I feel like a first responder in helping to resuscitate this school. It doesn't need resuscitation, but it definitely needs some help. It's wounded because it's getting less funds. So we want the school to be able to do all of their things. Now, what's up next?
Yes, what's up next?
For me and for what should be done is we need a reboot in society. And that is why does it take astronauts to have this transformative experience when they go up in space and they go, wow, there's no borders here. Why are we fighting over this little tiny pebble that's floating in space, literally spiraling at a speed of 3 million miles per hour?
Really?
We're spiraling through space. We're spiraling around the sun, which is moving with our galaxy. And so everything in space is actually spreading apart. And so we're moving so fast, but you don't even know it. It's like being on a plane and it's going 500 miles an hour, but you can't tell. And so we're on this moving little pebble, and this is the best that we can do. This is the best that we can come up with. So really what the lesson is that genetics has proven and shown us that we all came from the same place. We all had the same original mother. You are me and I am you under different circumstances. It's just that simple. We all came from the same tree. The thing is, if we are reminded of this science now and understand the fact that every person you bump into is your cousin, somewhere between your 15th and 50th cousin, it's a whole new perspective. How do you treat your family like this, If the original mother was here, she wouldn't be so happy to see what we've accomplished. She would be, and she wouldn't be at the same time. She would like to see her children getting along much better. Mm-hmm. And so really that's the message. I think the next message would be to remind ourselves that we are all connected, not just with each other, people, but also with nature. If you look at the atoms, from an electron microscope, you can't tell the difference of my atoms and the atoms in the tree and the space in between as well. So you don't know where I end and the tree starts. You can't tell the difference. You just see atoms. So we're all connected in this soup of subatomic particles, and that's really something to look at, but we're also connected on many levels, including the cosmic level. So I think it's important that we just back up a little bit, relax, taking a deep breath, drink some cold water, and reboot society.
Well, that all makes very much sense. You've taken many risks already, and I know you're always thinking forward, not just about what's happening this moment or in Israel in December. But what do you imagine humanity matters through art a year from now or 5 from now? What's the dream for this project, for the community, and the role of art in shaping a more tolerant world? How are we going to do this? It's this week we know we've hit the bottom.
Rock bottom. And sometimes people have to hit rock bottom, right? Even in life.
Personally. For the soul's sake, this is how it happens.
Yeah,
it can happen.
Yeah, sometimes you need, the only place to look is up when you're flat on your back. The only place to look is up. And so we have to kind of reassess now, back up a little bit, taking a deep breath, just chill and assess how far we've gotten with hatred. Apparently it doesn't work.
It doesn't. So
hate is not an answer.
What idea would you just throw out, some spaghetti on the wall that just might stick?
We need to make sure that everybody's voice is included. I think many people feel that they're not included in the discussion. And so it doesn't mean that their voice is going to be the only voice, but it's a voice. We all are spokes of a wheel, and that's what makes humanity a full wheel. And we all have a different perspective. If there's an accident on a corner, and there are 4 corners, and there's 4 people, one on each corner, everybody sees the accident completely different. We need to step back and respect the other person's perspective.
Well, your points are extremely well taken, but there's something else that's happening here that never occurred to me until this week. Mm-hmm. Yes, it all makes sense. Everybody's into social media. Everyone, you're saying, okay, right. Everybody gets a voice. I'm not so quite sure.
Right. Well, the problem is with social media is that people can be pretty mean and cruel on social media because they feel protected by the screen. Okay, they're standing behind the screen, kind of like Wizard of Oz behind the curtain.
No one knows that they're there, so they can say horrible things that
I
they
think
wouldn't
we need
say
to
to your
get to a table. I think we need people talking to each other.
Oh. So if we've hit with these people who are hateful or might do evil in their heart, in their words. Let's just talk about the words. What are we going to do? What are we going to do to counterbalance that?
First of all, we need rules here. We need rules. Whenever there's a dispute, and I've been involved in negotiations and arbitrations, there's certain ground rules. There's certain things that you can say and things that you cannot say. Generally speaking, even in counseling, they say, don't attack the other person. Say how you feel about the situation.
Wow.
How does it make you feel to be maybe left out? Do you feel left out, or do you feel like unheard? Speak your mind. Everybody's entitled to speak, but without attacking the other person, because the other person has a different point of view. And that's what we need to respect. What we forgot to do is respect that others have different perspectives.
Is there anything artistically we could do? Let's say we had some kind of artistic program.
Yes.
What would the
First of all,
activity be?
Believe it or not, I just released, of all things, a music video. I wrote the lyrics, and it's about that we're all connected. And that's one of the ways, but it's very artistically done.
Love it.
It makes you feel good. Young people love it. Elderly love it. Everybody from every walk of life love it. Okay. In fact, there's a group of children in Uganda that sang the song and recorded it and posted it, the same song.
Well, on that mode, I would like you to maybe put this song
I'm going to put it in here.
Into this conversation so that we could see this.
So let's watch it now.
Let's watch this now.
We're all related, that's the truth from within. From 15th to 50th, we're cousins in skin. Every handshake, every smile you see is a family reunion for you and for me. We're 15th to 50th cousins. Yeah, every one of us. Every time you meet someone, that's a reunion. Trust, be kind to your kin, let the healing begin. We share one beautiful planet, a home we all spin in. We can do better, we will do better.
So this is great because what you're saying is how the soul works. The soul needs to speak in good times and bad times. Mm-hmm. It's the voice, the song, the words. But what you're doing is you're creating, which everyone loves music. That's the one thing that everyone can heal, just the ability to vibrate with music. Right. But now you're putting words with this. Is there anything that you see going further with this, that you're going to do with all of these interviews and songs? What is the 5-year goal from this?
The 5-year goal is that I have a little impact. Every one of us that is doing something to change the direction of society is having a little impact. But we all have to do it together. It's like pushing a big wheel. You can't do it on your own. You need a lot of people to push a big wheel. So we need to change the direction of society. The pendulum has to swing the other way. And according to history, the pendulum always swings the other way. But we want to capitalize on that. We really want to push it the other way very quickly. It seems like we're going down a well that we may not be able to get out of. It's just really getting so brutal with people speaking to each other in such a disrespectful way. I grew up respecting others, to give people the opportunity to speak. People don't even allow others to speak. In fact, they want to silence them. And that's the problem. And it can get violent, as we know. So the point is that we are all entitled to have our own opinions and our own perspectives. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just your perspective. You know, for many years, medical doctors were trained in medical schools that there were 4 lobes in the liver when there are in fact 5. Now, I could be wrong with this detail, but I do remember many years ago, about 20, 30 years ago, I learned this, that they changed the fact. So is the fact the fact? Is the fact the truth? You know, what is the truth? The point is, who's right, who's wrong? There is no right or wrong. It's just a different perspective. You have 4 people witnessing an accident. Who's the right one? Well, everybody had a different point of view. So we have to take all of them into account and make something from that.
So on that note, I want to thank you for doing all of these programs. And I also want to end with gratitude for that Bernie allowing me to have the umbrella of humanity through art. But I'd like to end in saying that I suggest, I want to, on your reading list, The Care of the Soul, you might want to look at this book, Thomas More, because he is talking about, and in a historical way, telling you that you don't have to take medication to fix your soul. It actually sometimes needs you to do nothing, to do less, to listen to Bernie's music, see a great film. Because what you want to do is take care of the soul, because through this upset of what's going on in the world, we want to find a way that each and every one of us could be more artistic in the way that we respond to our soul and to other people. So I thank you very much for tuning in to Humanity Matters Through Art. This is Ranelle Wolf thanking you. And I am very grateful that you have turned on, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.